You ever work in an office where your stuff just disappears? Like some invisible force swallows it up the second you turn your head? Well, that was my reality. Except it wasn't a ghost haunting the stationery cabinet. It was one smug coworker who thought stealing pens was his God-given right. But I wasn't about to let him get away with it. So I gave him a pen that made his sticky fingers impossible to hide. Literally. If you've ever had someone at work disrespect your boundaries and take advantage of you, hit that like button. Subscribe for more real-life revenge stories that'll make you believe in karma again. Because today's payback was glittering perfection. So here's what happened. I work in one of those beige corporate offices where the hum of fluorescent lights becomes background noise, and the coffee machine is everyone's lifeline. It's not glamorous, but it pays the bills. My desk setup was simple. A few files, my laptop, and my favorite set of pens. Now, if you're like me, stationery might not seem like a big deal to outsiders, but in an office, having a reliable pen is survival. Meetings, signatures, scribbled notes. Losing one in the middle of a hectic day feels like someone just cut your oxygen supply. But here's the kicker. My pens kept vanishing. One day I'd have 3, the next down to 1. And not just any one, the cheap one that always smudged. At first, I thought I was losing them. Maybe I'd misplaced them in another meeting room. Maybe the office gremlins were at work. But then I noticed a pattern. There was this one coworker. Let's call him Brad. Brad was the type who always had excuses. Always borrowing, never returning. He was the kind of guy who'd walk into a meeting, pat his pockets dramatically, and say, "Hey, can I just grab a pen real quick?" And if you lent him one, you could kiss it goodbye. Brad had the smug way of doing it too, like it wasn't theft, like it was his natural right, because he was too busy to bring his own. The worst part? He'd brag about being clever. Why waste money on office supplies when the company's already got them? He'd say. Except it wasn't the company's pens he was taking. It was mine. Each time, I'd feel this flash of irritation. It wasn't about the money, it was about respect. The unspoken rule in any shared space. You don't take what isn't yours. And Brad, he broke that rule daily. Weeks went by, and every time I reached for my pen only to find it missing, my blood boiled hotter. I started buying packs of pens, hoping to stay ahead. Didn't matter. Brad always managed to borrow them. It wasn't long before my desk felt like a pit stop for his sticky fingers. I even tried calling him out lightly at first. "Hey, didn't I see that pen at my desk yesterday?" He just smirked. "Oh, relax, man. It's just a pen." That phrase, just a pen, stuck with me. Because it wasn't just a pen. It was the principle. Every time he said it, what I really heard was, your boundaries don't matter. And that was the breaking point. One night, scrolling through random office prank threads online, inspiration struck. Someone mentioned filling pens with invisible ink for laughs. But me, I had a different vision. I bought a cheap refillable pen online. When it arrived, I carefully cracked open the cartridge and drained out the standard ink. Then came my masterstroke. I mixed a tiny bit of blue ink with fine glitter dust, the kind you'd use for crafts, the kind that sticks to everything it touches. The result? A pen that wrote normally for a few seconds, but soon after, the glitter would bleed through. It would cling to fingers, creep onto sleeves, and speckle across fabric like confetti. And once it was on you, forget it. That sparkle wasn't leaving any time soon. It was subtle, insidious, and most importantly, undeniable. The next morning, I casually placed my masterpiece in the top drawer of my desk, the exact spot Brad always rated. I didn't have to wait long. By midweek, I noticed it was gone. No surprise there. But the real show started 2 days later. Brad strutted into our Monday meeting, acting as if he owned the room, except something was different. His hands sparkled. At first, it was faint, just a shimmer when the overhead lights hit his skin. But as he fiddled with his notebook, the blue glitter spread, dotted his fingers and smearing across the edge of his shirt cuff. I watched him rub his hands nervously against his pants, which only made it worse. By the time he grabbed his coffee mug, there were shiny flecks everywhere. People started to notice. Brad, you got something on your face?" one coworker said. stifling a laugh. Another piped up, "Dude, were you at a rave last night?" Brad's ears turned bright red. He mumbled excuses, fumbling to brush it off, but the glitter only seemed to glow brighter under the office lights. And me? I sat there, sipping my coffee, watching karma sparkle in real time. By the end of that week, Brad had quietly invested in his own pens. He stopped borrowing altogether. In fact, he made a point of pulling one dramatically from his pocket in every meeting, almost like he wanted to prove to the world he didn't need mine anymore. My desk? Safe. My pens? Finally untouched. And Brad? Well, let's just say he learned the hard way that sometimes what glitters isn't gold. It's revenge. You know, they say glitter is the herpes of the craft world. It sticks forever. Fitting, right? Because respect works the same way. Once someone shows they don't respect your boundaries, that stain doesn't wash away easily. Sometimes the only way to deal with it is to let them shine in their own mistakes. If this story made you smile, smash that like button. It helps more than you know. And tell me in the comments, what's the pettiest but most satisfying revenge you've ever seen? Don't forget to subscribe, because I've got more stories of karma served cold coming your way.